we go back to 1971 and a treat for Hull City fans. Waggy at his best. But first, here's Chris with what's making the news in football this lunchtime.
Well, there's been no Premiership action this weekend. That's because of England's World Cup qualifier with Italy on Wednesday. So transfer speculation is the order of most of this morning's papers. Leeds United are set to sign King Clancy from Manchester City, or will it be Birmingham's Paul Devlin? Southampton's Graham Souness is said to be interested in Chelsea's out-of-favour Gianluca Vialli, whilst Manchester United apparently want Aston Villa's Gareth Southgate, and will John Barnes continue the Anfield Bootroom dynasty? Now back to the action on the field, the First Division, and John.
Port Vale are one of the toughest sides to beat on their travels, and for the first 25 minutes they frustrated Barnsley. But the breakthrough came when Paul Wilkinson found space behind the visitors' defence, his first-time cross expertly converted by John Hendry for his 11th goal of the season. Not one of our best performances, said manager Danny Wilson afterwards, but they still fashioned enough chances to have won more comfortably. Neil Redfern brought one fine save out of Vale keeper Paul Musselwhite, and when Hendry tricked his way past Dean Stokes, Andy Liddell should have done better than blast the ball over the bar. Hendry was also guilty of wasting one gilt-edged chance laid on for him by Nicky Eden. Again Musselwhite to Vale's rescue. Final score Barnsley 1, Port Vale 0.
Bradford City gave Brazilian Adinho a debut at Crystal Palace, and he helped set up their goal after just 5 minutes. He found Lee Duxbury, who in turn picked out Chris Waddle with a pass the master would have been proud of himself. Waddle's cool finish took his City tally to 7 and prompted a game of catch me if you can. City have only won once away in the league, but they did hold the lead for nearly an hour. But when David Hopkins slung the ball into the box, the City defence merely watched Neil Shipley lose his marker and give Schwarzer no chance. 4 minutes later, Bradford were behind. The supply this time from the other side, Nicky Mohan almost put it into his own net. The substitute Georgian Dar was on hand just to make sure. And Palace wrapped up the points with a quarter of an hour to go. Dave Bassett's style at Sheffield United was hit it up over the top and run, and the same worked at Selhurst Park. Dougie Freedman getting behind Bradford to make it 3-1, City's first defeat since New Year's Day.
A fortnight ago they were everybody's favourites for relegation, but suddenly things are looking up for Grimsby. It took them only 12 minutes to breach Oldham's shaky defence, John McDermott providing the chance for 18-year-old John Oster to enhance his burgeoning reputation. And when Neil Woods nipped in with a near-post header to double the lead, it was Oldham who'd taken over the Mariners' mantle of prime candidates for the drop. In contrast, Grimsby's confidence was such that centre-half Mark Lever wasn't afraid to try his luck from 35 yards. And the game was already won when, in injury time, Clive Mendonca, lurking cannily as always just behind the Oldham defence, capitalised on a wayward header and caught Gary Kelly flat-footed. Oldham 0, Grimsby 3, their second successive win, and that means they're off the bottom for the first time since early December. They play Huddersfield at home next weekend. Town have slipped one place to 15th, and Bradford City are now only 1 point clear of the relegation zone. At the top, Bolton were beaten 3-2 at Reading, so both Wolves and Barnsley have closed the gap. Sheffield United can follow suit if they beat Norwich at Bramall Lane this afternoon.
York and Burnley are more than half.